He left me standing at the terminal, 15 years old, clutching a backpack that suddenly felt heavier than my body. "Figure it out," he said. Then he turned his back and walked toward first-class check-in with his new wife and her kids, laughing as though I didn't exist. I didn't cry. I froze, because in that single shrug I understood my worth to him, disposable. But what he didn't know was that abandonment sharpens the blade, and I was about to become the sharpest weapon he'd ever face. My father wasn't always cruel, at least not in ways I could name. When Mom and he divorced, he painted her as unstable, selfish, unfit. I was 8. I believed him. He fed me his narrative. She didn't care, she chose wealth over family, she left us. So I clung to him. I made myself small, obedient, desperate for his approval. But his approval had a price: obedience, silence, loyalty to him, and contempt for her. For years I paid, and still it was never enough. By the time I was a teenager, the cracks widened. The new wife arrived. With her came 2 stepbrothers who could do no wrong. Family trips became theirs, not mine. Meals, gifts, affection, doled out unevenly. I was the extra luggage he tolerated. The airport was the breaking point, the final, cruelest cut. He abandoned me so he could sip champagne on a beach with them. A child discarded, a nuisance erased. But in the silence of that terminal, I made my first real decision. I would never beg for his love again. I scrolled through contacts until I landed on a number I hadn't dialed in years. My mother's. My hands shook when I pressed call. Would she even answer? Would she even want me? Her voice came through, breathless, then breaking. My baby? Hours later, I saw the impossible, her jet descending, sleek and private, cutting through the night sky like salvation itself. When she stepped out, tears streamed down her face. She didn't ask why I called. She just pulled me close and whispered, "Never again." That was the moment I knew who had lied to me all along, and who had been waiting in silence, ready to love me the second I reached out. 3 months passed. 3 months of lawyers, documents, revelations. Mom wasn't just wealthy, she was prepared. She had evidence of years of neglect. She had connections in courts my father never imagined I'd step foot in. And she had me, no longer afraid, no longer silent. Together, we built a case. Custody violations, financial exploitation, neglect, abandonment. Every lie he told about her began to collapse under the weight of truth. The day he returned from vacation, bronzed and smug, he walked into a house that no longer contained me. My room, empty. The posters, books, photos, gone. Even the bed stripped bare. Instead, a thick envelope sat waiting on his desk, stamped, legal, unmistakable. I wasn't there to see it, but I can imagine the moment. His hand tearing it open, expecting bills or junk mail. His eyes scanning the words. Petition, abandonment, custody, financial misconduct. And finally, the part that gutted him. He no longer had a daughter under his roof. Not legally, not emotionally, not at all. Weeks later, we faced each other in court. He tried his usual charm, the practiced smile, the rehearsed lines about being a devoted father. But charm crumbles under cross-examination, and facts don't bend to theatrics. Photos, statements, receipts. The testimony of a 15-year-old girl with a steady voice and no tears left. I watched the judge's face tighten. I watched my father's mask slip. And for the first time in my life, the scales tipped my way. When the ruling came, it was swift. Sole custody to my mother. Financial restitution demanded. Visitation rights stripped until he proved himself fit. My father sat there, red-faced, fists clenched, while his new wife whispered in his ear, panic flashing across her face. They had gambled everything on me being weak. They had lost. Now I live in my mother's world, not just one of wealth, but of stability, of love that doesn't have to be earned, of freedom from walking on glass, waiting for the next cruel shrug. Sometimes I think about that airport, the moment he walked away, the last time he underestimated me. He thought he was discarding baggage, but I was shedding chains. He wanted me to figure it out, and I did. With lawyers, with strategy, with silence that cut sharper than screams. When he comes home now, he returns to emptiness, an empty room, an empty house, an empty place where his daughter used to be. And all that remains is the envelope. The one reminder that power shifted the moment he walked away. I don't need revenge and flames or violence. I chose the quiet kind, the kind written in ink and stamped by the courts, the kind that leaves a man with everything, except the one thing he can't replace: me.